Hello, good evening. Today we will take a look at Xbrowser plugin and solving Captchas. A couple of people asked about how that actually works with Xbrowser plugin, so we will look at two examples here during this tutorial. So I'm using the Advanced Captcha plugin and I'm using the Xbrowser plugin and the latest Ubot Studio version 5.8.5. So let's launch that. So now Ubot Studio is loaded, 5.8.5. This is the latest version, and let's start. So as always, we're using the Xbrowser cleanup command just to ensure that during development, when we are debugging stuff, that at the beginning we always have a clean plugin so that the plugin is reset and that we start from scratch, right? Then we are using the launcher. You all already know that we are no longer using the container commands, right? So let's take a quick look. We're using Chrome browser in this example. Next one, we use the Xbrowser navigate command, and I'm using, in our first example, the Ubot Studio Playground capture form. So let's save the bot and run the bot. So now the site is loading. As you can see, we have our nice capture form here. Now, to use the capture plugin, right? The free capture plugin, what we need is a picture of the capture, the actual capture graphic. This one here. So, to get that picture, there are two ways. You can either download the picture. That depends on the capture itself. If there is a URL you can extract and that URL points to that capture picture, which is working for some captures, then this is the best option you have, right? You scrape the URL from the page, you download the picture file, and then you upload it to one of those capture solving services, and then you enter the data into that capture field. So that's what we try here first. So what I always look at is the URL of that picture. So I right click it and I say open picture in new tab. So here's the capture. This is actually working, right? So here we have the capture URL ubotstudio.com/assets/capture.jpg ?ID and so on, right? So this stuff here looks unique. This stuff here looks random. I know on that playground side here, it's not random. The whole thing is static, but just imagine this one will change every time. So here we have the URL. Let's take a look at the source code. So as you already know that sometimes you have to click it twice and click inspect element to actually see it, right? So now here we have an image element with the source capture.jpg. So this one I want to extract. Okay, we copy that HTML code over. I copy it to XPath Builder Pro and I select this stuff here. I say contains, and here I have my XPath expression. So now back to Xbrowser plugin. I use an alert. I use a scrape element attribute command because we only want one result, which is the URL from that one single capture picture, and we don't want inner text, we want an element. So therefore scrape element and scrape element attribute. We are using XPath expressions to select the element, so we have to enter x colon here, and then I have my XPath expression, and the attribute we want to extract, so let's look back, is source. Okay, the browser is still open, the site is still loaded, the capture is still showing, so we can execute the command. And as you can see, we have our URL. So we need that in a variable. Now, we have to download that file. So we are using the download file command. The URL is in that variable. And I'm saving the capture on my D drive, captcha.jpg, right? So we run that command. Oh, okay, we of course have to run that set command first. We run the download command. Then we look at the drive and we see the capture file here. Let's open it very quickly. And here is our capture file. So, back to Ubot. We now have to solve the capture. Let's take a quick look at the different functions we have here. Depending on the capture service you use, they work differently. I don't know all of them. I'm mainly using toCapture at the moment, but I also used dCapture and I think image decoders, but I'm not quite sure. So the results you get are different from each capture service, and you have to look at what they send you back. Sometimes you get a string, sometimes you get just the text, sometimes you get a capture ID with a slash and so on. So depending on the result you get from your capture service, it could be that you have to format the result before you can use it. So mainly what I do is I use a set command, capture result, then I use my preferred capture solving service. I enter the capture image path here, my access key, I will do that in a second. I don't have a capture ID to report at the moment because I want to use the recognize option. Right, you see there are a lot of other stuff available for this capture service. That really depends, as I mentioned, on the kind of service you use. So recognize, get balance server status report, and so on. So we want to use recognize. Okay, so I will run that and I'm back in a second. Okay, the command finished and we can look at the debugger real quick. So as you can see, I'm getting an OK slash a number slash my capture. That's the text from our picture, SMWM, right? So now I of course cannot use that one because it's a string and I only need the last part here. So of course there are different ways how you can strip that down with some of the text commands. You can use regex, whatever you want. I'm showing you one example here and you can pick the one you like, right? There are, as I mentioned, different methods to extract the text here. So what I normally use, I use a list. Use list from text. Add the text. And I use that as a separator, the delimiter here. So run that one. And we have all items here in our list. And as you can see, the last one, list item number 2, is our text. So what I now do, I use type text, XBrowser text. I have to check the XPath expression for this field here. It's an input type. I'm lazy, I'm copying it over to XPath Builder Pro. and select that name here, copy that over, enter it, and use list item, my capture list, position 2, and run that one. And as you can see, I have my SMWM, which is the capture. Now I need that button. Do the same stuff again here, clicking inspect element, copy that over, type button, go back to Ubot, use the X-browser click command, and execute that. So let's run that real quick. Okay, so this button is actually not doing anything, so that's the reason why nothing happens, but you get the point. So how can this be improved? Of course, you can add all that wait for element and if element exists stuff, right? Fault tolerance is always a very good thing to implement into your bots, just to ensure that the stuff you try to interact with is really there, right? So otherwise your bots could run into errors, or your wait for element commands, they just wait for 30 seconds depending on what you have configured. So it's always good to check if the elements are there and wait for the element and then use an if element exists and so on. But you probably get the point here. So this was example number 1. And now we will look at a real life example. And I'm back in a couple of seconds. Okay, welcome to example number 2. This is a site I got from one of our members who asked for some help with the site, and I got the permission to use the URL in the demo, so that's something I'm allowed to share with you guys. Okay, let's run that and take a look at the site. Okay, the site is loaded. Let's scroll down and see where our captcha is. Okay, so here we have one of the older recaptures from Google. And yeah, I already can tell you that this works exactly the same as the example I did before. So, but I will show you a second way to how to get that picture. But when you click I always click the picture first. That's the first thing I do, and I select Open Picture in New Tab. So here you can see it. Okay, so I normally also copy the URL and I open another browser window, an anonymous browser window from Google. You can do that via Control-Shift-N, right? And you see that incognito mode here, this guy at the top, which means no cookies are loaded and other stuff. So, and I just paste that URL here and try to load it and just check if it's showing the same capture. So that actually tells me that all the data is in that URL, right? So there are no cookies or other stuff, because if you look at the new recapture, the one where you have those 9 pictures where you have to select all the whatever vegetables and all that stuff, that works different, right? You cannot copy that picture URL and open it from somewhere else. That's not going to work. The new one is a lot smarter than all that old stuff here. So, but for this one, we also have that URL. So it's actually really the same. You select inspect element, select that twice. I have that ID here. I copy that over to Expert Builder Pro again. And where is our source? I mean, we can use this one here. Just keep in mind this is German, which says build. That's capture. That means picture. So this one is probably different, but we can use the ID, right? I can use the ID, and yeah, it's really the same stuff, right? Scrape element attribute. What do we need? We need the source. We need the source. And yeah, that's basically it. Let's run it. Look at the debugger here. We have our URL, we download the file, and we are done. Right. So that's actually the same, and you can use all the Captcha plugin functions to get the result, and then you just use that and enter it into that field here. Let's take a quick look at the field just to see if there's something smart here. No, it's just a regular input field with a name reCaptcha response field, so you can identify that very easily as well. So another way to extract that stuff here, of course, is via our save screenshot element. And now we have to identify that picture thing here. I mean, that basically works the same. Copy that over. That was ID. I'm choosing the ID here. Yeah, we already had that. So now, okay, so let's run that. So, as you can see, this is not working. And the reason for that is that the Google Chrome browser has a limitation with that screenshot element command. And that is because of the Chrome driver. So the interface we are using to communicate with the browser. There's nothing I can do about that at the moment. This is a limitation of that Chrome browser. And the reason, or the background here, is that when you take a screenshot from the browser, a full screenshot, right? This one, X-Browser Save Screenshot. Normally, all the other browsers like Firefox and Phantom, they will save a screenshot of the page, right? The complete page, the whole page in one screenshot. But the Google Chrome browser, or the engine we use, the engine only saves the viewport, so what you actually see on the site. So now the problem is here with that command, what we are doing in the background, we identify the position of the element, but the position of the element is based on the full page, the complete page, right? So we are using XY coordinates here, and then the plugin takes a screenshot of the complete page. We identify the position of the element, and then we try to extract that part of the picture from the picture. So that works fine for Firefox and Phantom, but not for Chrome, because the coordinates are, based on the complete site, but the picture of the browser is only the viewport. So what we actually have to do here, we have to use a different browser. We switch that Chrome browser over to Firefox, and then we run it again. And we look at our disk here, refresh, and here we have our test JPEG file, 10829, which is the capture that's shown here on the side. So this is very important information. I mentioned it in one of the posts, I think, and one of the other videos already, but some people still struggle with that. So please, if you have to use the save screenshot element command, because the capture you work with does not provide you the URL, or it has some cookies so that you cannot use the URL, whatever, then you have to use Firefox or Phantom. It does not work with Google Chrome at the moment. There is a save screenshot special command here. I just want to show you that very quickly. So what you could do, but this is very new. So you could save the viewport of the site if you have to use Google Chrome, but this is not 100% reliable, and please do not use it if you want to sell the bot for other people, because this highly depends on your screen size and the screen resolution, right? But if you have to use Google Chrome because the site is not working with one of the other browsers and it's a bot you run on your server or on your PC, then this is an alternative you can look into. So what you do here normally is you use the X-Browser Save Screenshot command. You save the picture of the viewport from the Google page, Then you open that page in paintshop.net, for example, and you identify the exact position of the capture element you want to extract. And then you can use the X and Y coordinates here, the width and the height of that element. And so mainly you're doing it manually, right? What we do with that save screenshot element command, we try to identify the position automatically, but because of this is based on the site and the Google screenshot is only the viewport, those values do not match if the site is bigger than the screen, right? So the workaround is to use that save screenshot special command and then manually provide the right coordinates. But as I mentioned, please keep in mind those coordinates will change depending on the size of the screen and other parameters. So highly recommend that you don't use that for bots you sell or stuff you want to run on multiple PCs. Just a quick side note here. So, okay, so this was the second example, which was actually almost identical to the first one we did. So let's take a more complicated one. I think you all know this lady here, right? So let's start with that one. Okay, so this is the new recapture thing. To solve that, as I mentioned, we have to use the screenshot command and therefore no way to use Google Chrome. Go with Firefox or use Phantom. Firefox totally fine for this one. Now, this one is a bit more complicated, so stay with me. Okay, so the first thing we have to do, we have to click that I'm not a robot thing here. So Firefox also has an element inspector, inspect element, right? Almost the same like the Google one. So here you can copy outer HTML, which will give you the correct code to paste into XPath Builder. We have our XPath expression here. I use a click command. So let's run that. As you can see, it clicked the element and it's showing us that new, nice and beloved picture here. So please select all the coffee pictures. So of course, to use that, right, all the capture solving services, and this is mainly for my friends here from Germany and other German-speaking countries or countries with other languages, you have to ensure that this picture shows up in English, of course, because otherwise no one from those capture solving guys will understand what's written here. They could probably imagine what is meant because of that picture here at the top, but yeah, solving that kind of capture is still pretty new to those guys, so we will probably get a lot of errors if you don't provide the correct text. So for this demo, I will not play around with that. I mean, this mainly you can, on some sites you have the possibility to change the language via a cookie or via a URL, right? Whatever, or just use US-based proxy servers, right? So what we try to do now is we want to extract the picture. So let's take a quick look at the elements here, what we have. So we want a complete one. Scroll down a little bit just to see what is the right one. So this one looks pretty okay. Let's copy that outer HTML over. So class RC image select payload, and let's test if we can use that one. Oops, sorry. Okay. So always ensure that, because those captchas, they have a timeout. When you test the commands, you have to ensure that the stuff is, of course, still showing up on your browser. So run that. Let's see. New. Okay. So that's not correct because it shows some other stuff here in the background. Okay, so another idea. The reason could be that because the initial site is very small, right? You can see that it's loaded here within the browser, and when I click this one, that the capture opens that opens in a frame here. It's a different position. So depending on what the site reports as the screen size of the page, it could be that our element locator is wrong here. It's the similar problem to what we have with Google, but that in Firefox this only happens if that page you work with is really small, or you have a mobile view and that capture pop-up is bigger than outside of what you see here, right? So in this case, and this is every site works differently, so there is no one fits all solution, guys. As always in development, you always have to work with the commands and functions and try to figure out some smart ways how to solve stuff. But I have an idea. Let's take a look. So let's try to save the complete thing here, and just see what happens. Right. So run that one. New page. Okay. So now we have everything. What's the size of that one? Okay, 37 kilobyte. That's totally fine. It has to be below 100 at least for the two capture side I'm using. So this should be totally fine, right? There is some other stuff here on the left, and you have that stuff here at the bottom. But I mean, this is presented to the capture solving guys, so they probably should know what you want, right? Doesn't matter, because there's not a computer sitting there doing that stuff. They are humans, so they can hopefully think. And also, if there's some additional stuff here at the bottom and on the left side, it probably shouldn't really matter, right? So they still should be able to solve that one and provide you the correct answers. So let's assume that this will be the case. Okay, so we go from there. So we save the screenshot because then we have the correct element. On other sides with that new reCAPTCHA thing, you probably can use the save element screenshot command. So I'm adding some additional stuff here. Wait for element. Just to ensure that it's there. Let's put a 3-second wait here so that this capture can fully load after we click the button. And let's give it a try. Running it again. Okay. Okay, so all the pictures with noodles. Okay, perfectly fine. So now let's add our capture command again. So we have our to capture command here, we get results, and I have an alert at the end. So let's see what happens. We run the cleanup, we launch the browser, go to the site, click the button, wait for the screen, save the screenshot, and then we submit it to the capture solving service. Now, so here's one problem. The capture has a timeout, and the capture solving services are still very slow. So it could take 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 60 seconds, depending on their workload, depending on the guy you get to solve the captcha, right? It could be that you decide and the captcha runs into the timeout before you get the result. So you have to code around that, right? Your code has to detect if that stuff is still showing here or if it's already showing something else. So now we have the result. Okay, here it is, 3 and 6. So let's take a look. So the picture says show salad, which is picture 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is actually correct. So I got the right answer here, and even it was in German. So I'm pretty excited about that one. So now we have to figure out how to click those pictures, right? So we have to click number 3 and number 6. So first, what we have to do, of course, is to extract that number again, right? So let's do that. So I have my add list to list command. Of course, we always should use a clear list before, just to avoid that we have some old stuff in there. So now we have 3 and 6. Okay, so now we need that number and we have to separate it. Okay, so we have our number 36. We need a loop because we have to click multiple times. The text length depends. That's what I'm using because I don't know how many captchas I have to click. It's of course the numbers are only 1 to 9. So the string, every position of the string equals one number because there's no 10, 11, 15 at the moment, at least. So I can use that approach here. I need a counter. And alert. Substring command. The original text is the number. Starting position is my counter. Number of characters is 1. I need an increment. And I increment the counter. So let's set a variable 0. Let's run the loop. 3, 6, fine. Okay. So now we of course don't need that here in an alert. We need that working number. And you can change all of that to local if you want to later. And just so, of course, if you need that in threads and you want to put it into a define, all that stuff, of course, works. But you guys are smart. You know how to figure that one out. Okay, so we have the working number now. So now I have to figure out how to click those elements, right? So let's take a look. Let's make that a bit bigger here. Okay, so now let's move the mouse a little bit. So we have, you can see here, RC image title. So to move that up a bit here. Okay, so as you can see, if you follow the screen at the top here, and when I move my mouse over those elements here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 pictures showing up, 3 in each row. And we have 3 rows, and we have those other elements here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the correct HTML code we need. So now, okay, let's take a quick look here again. Just a second, I'm explain in a second what I'm doing here. So, and okay, so now this is a bit more complicated when it comes to XPath, and this is not something you can do in XPath Builder fully automated. But yeah, just stay with me. I try to explain how that actually works. So I copy that text over here. So we start with we have to identify that complete block here, right? When we select that one, you see this is the complete element here, right? So this, and here we have the different pictures. So they're not showing up now, but that really doesn't matter. And so first of all, we have to identify that one here, the RC minus image select minus target. So that's the first XPath expression. Let's copy that over here. I'm just using that as a placeholder so that I don't have to open my notepad. So it really doesn't matter that I'm using the document here. So this is the first one we need. Now, and then we want to find this one. So there is another div and another div. So let's copy this one, outer HTML. Class, and I select that one. So now we have to put that together, right? And yeah, so there was another div, and then we have that one, and of course we have to remove those here. So okay, this will find it will start. It will start at the div with the ID RC minus image select minus target, which is this one here. And then it will identify the it will move down, right? It will move down to the next div, and then it will move down to the next div with class RC minus image minus title minus target. That's what we have specified here at the end, right? So let's copy that one over here into our expression. And when we select the, this one, we copy that one over, copy outer element. Oops. And we copy it here into the browser and run it. So it gives us 9 elements, right? So, yeah, that might be a bit confusing now, but I hope you can stay with me here. So let's move to the beginning. So RC image select minus target. That's where we start, right? This one here. Right? That's the code I copied, right? This block here. This complete block, I select copy outer HTML. That's what I copied into the document view here of XPath Builder Pro, just to test my XPath expression and to see if I get the correct results, right? So, and I'm getting 9 elements because right, I'm using the because I'm starting here at RC minus image select minus target, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 div elements with the RC image title minus target. So now some people could, I mean, you could also specify that directly, but yeah, I tried that and it did not work so well. So what we now have to do to identify the correct one, right? We have to specify the number of the element. So in XPath, you do that like this. I put that into brackets, and then we specify the number at the end, right? The first one. So let's run that. As you can see, I only get one result. right? Which is correct. So now let's copy that one over. And what we have to do here, we have to click an element. And we are using that working number here. Okay, so what I also do normally is I put a random wait command here. Just to make it a bit random, the clicking, right? That it's not all happening at the same time. Okay, so let's check that very quickly. I just want to test it real quick. So working number is 3, and let's close that one here. Let's open the page and run that click command with working number 3, and as you can see, it clicked the third picture. Run it, and here we go. Okay, so this is actually working fine. Okay, so the last thing we have to do, of course, is to click that button, and we just do that real quick here as well. Recapture verify button. Okay, this one. Okay, so this actually should work if the nice Captcha guys are able to provide the correct stuff. So let's give it a try. So now, depending on how fast they are, this could take a couple of seconds, and I'm pausing the video real quick and we'll resume recording as soon as we have the results. Okay, nice. First try, and we got error capture unsolvable. So that's also something you could get if the guy who gets the picture just marks it as, well, this is not English or whatever. And yeah, you have to take care of that stuff in your code, of course. Check the result. If it shows error capture, loop, restart, do it again. Okay. So of course we don't have any error handling in our demo code here, so we will get some weird results and just start it over and hope that this time we will get something useful back from those guys. Okay, so waiting again, and yeah, back in a second. Okay, now we get some results. We have 3, 2, and 4, which is not really correct because it's 3, 6, and 7, but well, I don't really care. The bot is clicking the images. It's hitting the OK button, and yeah, and it's showing us another capture. Right. So you also have to handle that, right? It could be what this text says. There are more results necessary to solve the task, right? So it could be that they only show you 1. It could be that they show you 2 or 3. So your code has to handle that. You have to check the page if after clicking the OK button, the confirm button here, if the page is showing up another capture, right? And then loop through it, do it again. If it does not show the capture, if it's well, normally the site will tell you something, okay, great job, you're done. Whatever, you have to put that error and condition handling in your code. There is no clear straight path here, right? There could be multiple variables. The site could not show a capture at all at the beginning. It could show 1 capture, it could show 2 captures. Sometimes you only have to click that I'm not a robot button. Sometimes you have to select those pictures. So everything can happen. And your code has to take care of all the different conditions here, right? So please keep that in mind, guys. And because if you don't cover that, then you will run into errors, right? Or your customers. So I think that should cover it, how this works. I hope you got a couple of ideas how to work with Captchas and solve them. And as always, if there are any questions left, feel free to contact me, support@bot-factory.com. I wish you a very great day and speak to you soon in one of the other videos. Thanks and have a nice day.